Hello, teacher and classmates. My name is Juan Pablo Garcia, and today we are going to present our theory analysis report. The topic of our work is speaking anxiety in an A2 English class. This problem is very common, especially when students need to speak in front of others. In our analysis, we observed a virtual class from Inbuild project where students were learning how to pronounce the ed ending in regular verbs. During this class, we noticed that some students feel nervous, they hesitate, and sometimes they speak very softly or they don't want to participate. So, the objective of this presentation is to explain this problem using three theories: behaviorism, Krashen's monitors model, and sociocultural theory.
Hey, teacher, hello, and classmate. My name is Karen Marquez. Okay, in the class, I can observe the teacher use different activities like repetition, reading, riddles, and online quiz. Even when the class was well organized, we observed that some students had difficulties when speaking. For example, some students asked the teacher, repeat instruction, some students made mistakes and looked in short. Some students didn't want to speak or spoke very low. This showed that speaking anxiety is present in the class. This problem is important because when students feel nervous, they participate less. And if they don't practice, they can improve their speaking skills.
Hello, my name is Karen Tatiana Torres Valencia, and I'm going to talk about this topic from a behaviorism perspective. From a behaviorism perspective, learning happens through repetition and reinforcement. In the class, the teacher asks students to repeat verbs like walk or visit. This helps students to improve their pronunciation. However, we think that correcting a student in front of the whole class can make a student feel nervous. So, even if repetition is useful, it can also increase anxiety if a student feels exposed. And a possible solution to this is to start with group repetition, then move to part work, and finally to individual participation.
Now, from Krashen's theory, we can explain the problem in another way. Krashen says that students learn when they receive input that is understandable, but also emotions are very important. This is called the affective filter. In this class, the input was clear, but some students feel anxious. When students feel nervous, their affective filter is high and they cannot learn well. So, even if the teacher explains correctly, learning may not happen. A good strategy is to create a relaxed environment and allow students to practice before speaking in front of everyone.
Okay, in the sociocultural theory, says that the learning happens through interaction with others. In the class, most interaction was between teacher and students, but not so much between students. We think that if students were in pairs or small groups, they can feel more comfortable. This kind of interaction helps students build confidence before speaking in public.
In conclusion, we can say that the speaking anxiety is a real problem in English learning. Each theory helps us understand different aspects. The behaviorism explains practice and correction. The Krashen explains emotions, and sociocultural theory explains interaction. We learn that teacher needs to balance correction with emotional support. Also, it is important to create a safe environment where students feel confident to speak.
Finally, this activity helped us understand how theory connects with real classroom situations. As future teachers, we want to create classes where students feel comfortable, motivated, and confident to speak. Thank you for your attention and
And now we are going to continue with the next part of the activity. Each group member will answer some questions about the problem we analyze, including possible solutions, tools, and evaluations.
Okay, the question are what innovate English learning activity will you propose to address the problem? The second question is what digital tool or resource will you use for the activity? And the third question is how would you assess the impact of this activity on language learning?
well, answering the question A, innovative activity. For this problem, I will propose a gamified speaking activity. In this activity, students complete small speaking challenges like describing images, answering simple questions, or telling short stories. Each time they complete a task, they get points or rewards. I think this is useful because students feel more relaxed and less afraid. It feels more like a game than a test. Also, when students are having fun, they participate more and forget a little about their fear. About digital tools, for this activity, I will use tools like Kahoot or Quizit. These platforms are interactive and easy to use. They can include questions, images, and even competitions. Also, I will use simple IA tools like chatbots where students can practice conversations without feeling judged. Technology is very helpful because it makes the class more dynamic and interesting. And about the assessment, to evaluate this activity, I will use observation and simple criteria. For example, if students participate, if they try to speak, if they improve little by little, I will not focus only on mistakes, but also on effort and confidence. Also, I can ask students how they feel after the activity because emotions are important in learning.
Okay, my turn. In the first question is innovate activity. I will propose a pair speaking activity with real life situation. For example, a student can act like they are in a restaurant, a store, or a conversation with friends. This activity helps students because they practice English a more natural way. Also, working in pairs reduce anxiety because they don't feel so exposed in front of the whole class. The second question, digital tools. I will use tools like Canva or symbol presentation slides to show situation or images. Also, videos or short clips can help students understand the context better. If possible, I will also use virtual breakout rooms in platforms like Zoom so students can practice in small groups. In the last question, assessment for evaluation, I will focus in communication, not perfection. For example, if the student can express ideas, if the message is clear, if they try to interact. I think it's important to give positive feedback so students feel motivated.
Okay, the innovate activity, I would propose a small group discussion activity. Students can talk in group of 3 or 4 about simple topics like hobbies, routines, or past experiences. This activity is helpful because students feel more comfortable speaking with classmates that speak alone. Also, they can help each other and can learn together. For the digital tools, I will use WhatsApp audios or voice notes, where students can practice speaking. Also, platforms like Google Meets or Teams can be used for group interaction. These tools allow students to practice even outside the classroom. And finally, to assess this activity, I will look at participation and progress. For example, if students speak more than before, if they show more confidence, and if they improve pronunciation. And I think the progress is more important than being perfect.
In conclusion, this activity helped us understand the importance of emotions and confidence in learning English. As future teachers, we want to create a safe and motivating environment for our students. This is the end of the presentation. I hope will you agree with our answers and techniques. Thank you so much for your attention. And that's all. Goodbye.